Hey guys, what's going on? It's MajiinBae. Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, there's not going to be any gameplay, so if that's what you're looking for, probably go back to the last video where I played this deck. Today, I'm just going to be talking about the deck a little bit, going over some of its mulligans, a little bit of its decisions, and why I decided to keep playing it. I did recently hit, last night, I hit rank 1 with Fiora Pantheon. I'm not going to be playing ranked anymore until the season ends this Thursday, because I just need to have like a top 10 finish to guarantee my spot at Worlds, so I'm just going to sit wherever I am. But this is the deck that I ended up playing. I wasn't planning on it. What actually happened was I was playing it on my Smurf to see if it was good enough to play for YouTube, to make a video on it. And then I just like bodied people. I was just crushing people, and I was like, huh, okay. So I recorded the video, which is honestly not my best video. I was very, very tired. I made lots of mistakes. But then after that, I went onto my main account and started playing it. And I think I played like 15 games and lost like 2 or something like that, right? Something kind of ridiculous. I was like, oh, this deck is real. And as I was playing the games, I was getting a lot better with it. I was kind of figuring out how exactly to approach these matchups, how to mulligan, things like that. What's important. You get what I'm saying. And then when I needed to make another push, I lost some games on Nami Lee, so I switched back to good old Fiora Pantheon and made a push up to rank 1. The deck is very, very powerful. I mean, it's a Pantheon deck, right? And that's really good, but Pantheon got a lot of help, I would say, in the form of Eula, Wandering Shepherd, and the Darkened Lodestone are very, very good. Now, Fiora's here too, but the first thing I want you to like understand if you're going to play this deck is this is not a Fiora deck. This is a Pantheon deck. Fiora's there. She helps sometimes. This is a Pantheon deck. Sometimes you win with Fiora. Not very often. You're gonna mostly win with Pantheon. She's good. She's good. And in some matchups, she can like really threaten to level, and that's good. Like I leveled her and won the game against Nami like twice with Fiora, right? Same thing against like anything that presents like 1/1s or 1/3s. Then Fiora can threaten to actually like level up. But there's a lot of like Swain decks running around in decks with like mini morphs and vengeance. And what I like to do then is use Fiora as a lightning rod for these removal spells, right? So against like Nora Heimer, Fiora is really, really good because she can threaten to kill like 4 units and not die if you just like do the bare minimum because their units are so small. And so what you're doing is you're forcing your opponent to mini morph Fiora. If they mini morph Fiora, that's a mini morph they don't have for Pantheon or for Harazi later in the game. So that's kind of what Fiora does. She's good at what she does, but yeah, this is a Pantheon deck. We win by playing Pantheon. And what I most love about this, as opposed to the other versions, is honestly Eula and Wandering Shepherd are such huge inclusions. What I really like to do is save Eula. I won't cast it on any of these if I can help it. Wandering Shepherd, I'll cash in like the second I can, especially on like Saga Seeker or Mountain Goat or Fiora, just because they're so good with items or equipment, because you're able to keep cashing in hits with goats. You're able to get Saga Seeker to be this really big threat. You can have Fiora get quick attack or something like that, right? Really, really good with Wandering Shepherd. However, Eula, I usually save until I play Pantheon, and then I Eula him to 5, right? So I go Pantheon, he's not leveled, go to my turn or whatever, Eula, pick Spell Shield. That way, he'll level with Spell Shield, and he'll get 5 other keywords, so I don't waste one on Spell Shield. I really want him to have Spell Shield, but I also want him to have other keywords. So every now and then, Eula will come down and you'll just like Spell Shield up a Saga Seeker, overwhelm it, Spell Shield Fiora because she's already killed 2 units. But usually I use it on Pantheon. Sometimes against aggressive decks, it'll just be like, okay, Saga Seeker, Petricide Broadwing, Eula to trigger Saga Seeker, right? You're just like, dude, just clog the board, don't die, take as little damage as possible, figure it out later. Because like once you level Pantheon, you're probably going to win anyway. The other new additions are the Darkened Lodestone, which is really nice. Just like, I'll just cast Saga Seeker and then Lodestone it because it's going to live, right? It turns into like a 3/4 on turn 2. And then on turn 3, I get to attack with it and something else to, start triggering it. Give stuff +1/+1, which is really nice to just beat breakpoints. So, like you can make it so Goat doesn't trade with a 2/2. You can make it so that Petricide Broadwing threatens Nami, a lot of stuff like this. And that's really nice. I like a lot of times I'll catch myself just bumping up Wandering Shepherd because my opponent has 3 2/2s, a 2/1 and 2 2/2s, and now Wandering Shepherd attacks over it. Just small stuff like that. But the real benefit comes in Harazi, which has won me a lot of games. with the benefit of the equipment, you can do something like get Harazi, it's a 7/7 spell shield, slap +2/+2/+2/0 overwhelm weapon on it, and then attack, making 2 9 power overwhelm spell shield units. That can be really, really tough for your opponents to deal with. Really like having this card. However, I'm not always keeping it in mulligans. I will mulligan it a lot. It is really, really important for your deck to find Pantheon. In the gameplay video, I mentioned that I mulligan Pantheon a lot, and then like 2 games later, I say, don't do that. You should keep Pantheon. I keep Pantheon in basically every single matchup because he's so important. The other card that I almost always want is Saga Seeker and Mountain Goat. They just get the ball kind of rolling. Saga Seeker stunts any aggression your opponent can put on the board. It's like some of the best targets you have for everything. And then Mountain Goat just gives you free things to trigger your Pantheon every turn, or your Faded, or heal your units, right? It's just like a really flexible unit that gets you from the early game to the mid game exactly the way you want to do it. So the main cards I keep, Pantheon, Saga Seeker, Mountain Goat. Then from there, you're able to keep something that might be like really good in the matchup. Maybe you have Saga Seeker and you have Pantheon and you're playing against Swain. Well, Guiding Touch might be a card you want to keep, or Chain Vest, right? Something like that. But I want to make sure that I have those first. Wandering Shepherd can also be a keep if you already have something else to play, a Saga Seeker or a Mountain Goat usually. I don't love keeping Shepherd and Petricide Broadwing because a lot of the equipment aren't incredible on Broadwing because you need to increase its health to deal more damage, and it's just not my favorite. Camphor, though, is a really, really strong card. I know I haven't talked about that. It looks kind of like meh, right? It's a 6/5 overwhelm spell shield challenger if it's turned on. It's usually turned on by 6, and if not 6, then 7. And this card, it is good because it kills things, but more often than not, it threatens a lot of damage, right? You can easily push like 5 damage by just attacking X1, but with the benefit of equipment, this is going to come up a lot. You can push a lot more damage. You can grab the impact one. That's 2 more damage, right? 1 power plus the impact. You can grab scout one. Now you get 2 attacks with it. You can just do all sorts of stuff. Like these cards get way better with equipment, and that's what's so nice about it. Like I've gone Camphor, scout equipment, attack, rally, attack, and just killed my opponent, you know, and stuff like that. Stuff like that does happen. Not super often, but it does. Keep an eye out for it. Yeah, honestly, there's like not too much to this deck that's super surprising. If you played Pantheon decks before, you kind of get how this works. We have all 6 cyclers because finding Pantheon is so important, and it also triggers our guys. I would save Guiding Touch against Swain until something's actually damaged. Try not to just cash it in like you would maybe a Pale Cascade at like an end of turn, right? Because healing out of Flock and Scorched Earth is so important. If the unit is really important, Guiding Touch first. I know it's tempting to try to get your opponent to wait till they put Flock on the stack and then Guiding Touch and like, haha, I get you. But sometimes you'll Guiding Touch and then, you know, they'll Flock, you'll Guiding Touch, and then they make it rain. And now your unit's dead, and you really don't want that to happen. So if it's a really important unit, let's say like Pantheon, right? Or a really big Saga Seeker, just Guiding Touch first. Make it so that they can't even put the Flock or the Scorched Earth on the stack. The other ones, we have a lot of combat spells, 3 single, 2 concerted. That's because we get really big units. Pantheon striking things can often win you games because he gets lifesteal a lot of the time. It's a Fiora win condition. It's how we deal with stuff. And then the 2 copies of Golden Aegis are just there to, well, just end games. Like, you come on. We've played the game before. You know how good Rally is. I know how good Rally is. I shouldn't have to explain to you why this card's good. You will win a lot of games on Rally. The one Chain Vest has honestly been an all-star for me. I really enjoyed this, especially with Swain everywhere. People are playing Karma Yi. There's a lot of ping effects. Like, Chain Vest is super cool. I don't think I ever want to play 2 because drawing the second would be miserable. But the first is really nice. I will also use it. My favorite target is Mountain Goat because that plus gems, just like eventually he just becomes a monster, especially if you can start pumping him with Dark and Lodestone every turn or slapping equipment onto him. But that's another card that I like to get Pantheon to 4 and then cast Chain Vest to cheat out an extra keyword, as it were. Really enjoy this one. And yeah, the matchups are honestly really good. Nami, you can absolutely beat, right? You just have to go aggressive, pedal to the metal. You crush the Nora decks, right? Like Nora Heimer, Nora Vagar, you absolutely destroy them. They don't have enough hard removal to deal with your stuff, and none of their other removal kills anything in your entire deck. Fiora demands Minimorph, or Vengeance, and then Pantheon just cleans up. Same with Camphor. Like, you can just attack their Nora and their Vegars and their Heimers basically with like impunity. You don't have to worry about it. Harazi is another must answer threat. Like, the deck just can't deal with all of it. Swain can give you some trouble. Because once they get the Leviathan lock, it can be difficult. The first one, you're usually going to be able to deal with, the first Swain or Leviathan, with a single, concerted, challenger units, what have you. But the second one can often be difficult. You do destroy other Demacia decks for the most part. Leona, again, can be tough. You have to make sure you're setting up good open attacks against Leona. But the other smaller Demacia decks, like even like Poppy Tarek or Scouts, I've had very good times into, because we're just kind of bigger, just like a little bigger, right? Pantheon is kind of like a Demacia mirror breaker, and we have a lot of strike spells and a lot of units to throw those strike spells on. And yeah, that's the deck. I expect it to be played quite a bit in seasonals, and if you're looking for a last minute deck to rank up with, I recommend this one. Give it a shot. Let me know how it does. That's all for me. Thank you guys so much for coming. See you next time.